Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. That's Ted Coley. Hey, Ted Coley, how you doing?
Hey, vacationing Fred.
Vacationing Fred is back from vacation. I was gone for 2 weeks. I did not take my laptop, so I didn't post any articles either.
Oh, wow.
But I did read some magazines. I did read some newspapers. I went back into the 1990s. And for a few breaking headlines, I read short stories on the iPhone. But I didn't do any writing at all, and I only had a very basic outline for today, so you get to hear Fred's stream of conscious today. Aren't you excited?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what is Beacon of Speech? We sell freedom of speech to everybody. That is going to stop. We're going to start taking away freedom of speech from people. We're going to have to be the, the Beacon of Speech brings lightness. It brings light in a dark world, but I think we're going to have to change our focus. What is it when you bring darkness to an already lit place? What's the opposite of a beacon?
An eclipse.
We're gonna be the eclipse of speech. We're gonna take away
would that
light.
work? Is that
that's where we're going because literally.
So we're like we move in front of the light and block it out.
Yeah, we're gonna block out the light. Beacon of Speech is gonna be over because me and Ted literally right before we hit the button, what we were talking about the deterioration of America, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I can't get over how, one of the things that's, first of all, I had a very nice vacation with my family, and my wife's family. It was nice to decompress, it was nice to step away.
Nice to decompose.
Nice to decompose. Ted got a break from me because I didn't yammer. Did you have a nice break from my yammering?
It was pretty quiet.
Yeah, so you got a break, so it was like a little mini vacation for you too.
I was alone with my thoughts.
But
which is never good.
But we went to a tourist trap, and some of the service we got in the tourist trap made me think of the deterioration of America, and I'm like, holy cow. So we were talking about deterioration of America before we started. Isn't that awesome?
Mm-hmm.
So, believe it or not, I did not want to start negative, okay? So that's my fault because I spun out of control. And I also offended Ted. You can't tell. I just got done mowing the lawn, so I reek, so Ted is eventually going to move away from me because of the smell. So I apologize to Ted right away. But what I wanted to do, believe it or not, is for Beacon of Speech 60, I wanted to talk about what was right in America, right? And it's funny that we're going to talk about what's right in America, seeing literally right before I hit that button, we were saying what's wrong with America, okay? So, one of the things I was reading when I was on the beach is the magazine Popular Mechanics. Now, why was I impressed with Popular Mechanics? Right here on the cover, it says, Made in the USA, Special Edition. America still makes cutting-edge stuff. Isn't that awesome, Ted?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to go in here and we're going to start talking about a musician that you're familiar with. His name is... I know what his name is. I almost said Jack Black. I had to look. It's Jack White.
Oh, I know. I always get those two.
I know.
I mean, I know the difference between them, but their names always...
We are going to talk about how awesome Jack White is. Okay? Now, I think Jack White is awesome because of the White Stripes and the Raconteurs and some of his solo work. He's literally, to me, he's this generation's Jimmy Page. Okay? Now, can you name
Would you say, would this be completely off base to say he's almost like a white Lenny Kravitz?
Yes. No, I would agree.
Okay.
He is a guitar virtuoso. And if rock and roll was bigger today, Jack White would be one of the biggest stars in America. The problem is nobody really loves rock music anymore. They love rap, they love pop.
Yeah.
Rock is kind of a bygone era.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, if there weren't people buying albums or downloading stuff, there would be no Jack White, so there's still a market for it. Okay, but when you think of rock and roll geniuses right now, today, as we speak, there's nobody I think of above Jack White. Okay, he works with country artists, rock artists, he's a real visionary of rock and roll. Okay, he's keeping it alive. Now, what intrigued me is why is he in Popular Mechanics, Ted? And that's why I want to talk to you about. So he's a visionary. Why is he in Popular Mechanics?
I don't know. I mean, I know just from watching that movie what is it, a documentary, It Might Get Loud?
It Might Get Loud, yep.
I know that if he didn't actually do it himself, he had a lot of like innovative things done to guitars. And,
Right. And everything's true. Innovative things with guitar, new ways of doing things, making the old ways the new ways to record. The reason he's in the article is because the article, and we'll get into it more, or the articles in there is what cutting edge stuff do we have in America, right? Jack White believes in vinyl. How many vinyl records do you have somewhere in your basement or at your parents' basement?
Oh, I actually have them in the next room. I probably got. I probably got it's at least 50. I know that. It's.
When I was a kid, I used to have a vinyl collection. I used to have Prince. I used to have Weird Al. I have Foreigner. Okay, and I didn't have a huge vinyl collection because it was when I was a kid, right? But it basically lasted from Hall & Oates and Dumb Ditties when I was like 8 or 9 till when I started buying tapes when I was, 14, 15. Okay? So I got a little bit of a record collection.
See, and I started out buying vinyl.
Right.
And then at some point I kind of switched to cassettes.
Same here.
I think, and the reason was so that by that time I was driving, so I could listen to them in the car.
Same thing here. Because by the time I was 16, I never bought vinyl again. Okay? But in the last couple of years, vinyl's made a little bit of a comeback, and Jack White, if I say Jack Black, yell at me.
If I catch it.
Jack White says the best way to hear music is on vinyl. Okay? Well, Jack White is an innovator, right? Again, I can't say enough great things about him. Okay? And we're not used to starting off speaking of speech positively, right? He's an innovator. What do you do to make your records? Is it cost prohibitive? Where do you get your records made, Ted? You're in I almost said Wild Stallions. You're in Wasted Space. You and your band get back together, and you want to release a 500 copy limited edition on vinyl of Wasted Space. Where do you go to release vinyl?
You're saying where they actually literally make...
Where they make records.
Oh,
yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, that's the thing. Jack White said there is no place, right? Jack White says, I'm going to open a vinyl stamping plant in Michigan, in Detroit. I'm going to build an old warehouse, and I already have to do A, B, C, D for my regular music.
Now, that's where he's from, right?
Yeah, he's from Detroit. Yeah. And so the article's talking about, even though he's not only a music innovator, he has music in the front of the store, and then he presses vinyl in the back. They call it the fishbowl, where you can look in the window and see 20 workers pressing vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, say, again, we're going to go back to Wasted Space. You live in Cleveland. You could go, holy cow, Jack White, I want to press 500 Wasted Space vinyls. You could drive 4 hours away and you could do business with Jack White. Because he believes in vinyl. He believes in, he didn't ship it out to Hong Kong and say, listen, we're going to pay you 3 cents on the dollar, whatever it is. I'm going to make my own plan.
So he believes in an idea.
He believes in an idea.
He doesn't believe in, I'm going to do this because I can make the most money doing this.
Again, he believes I can make some money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with making money.
There's we're not socialists. We're not saying nobody gets money. But what Jack White is saying is I can make some money and I can put people to work and we're going to be in Detroit. Now, the article is like, we lost 500,000, steel mill jobs. We got 20 back with Jack White. Now, that's a little bit, But it's the kernel of the idea of Jack White is challenging the conventional wisdom. And I'm going to be honest with you. He's probably about our age, right? Would you open a vinyl factory today? Make vinyl records?
No, I would imagine it would go against,
Go against the conventional wisdom. Everything is downloadable. Well, Jack White's like, I'm not in it to make $1 million. Yeah. I'm in it to make vinyl records because vinyl records sound great.
Mm-hmm.
And people collect them, and hardcore musical fans love vinyl records. Which, again, it goes back to the American spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about beacon of speech or eclipse of speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want beacon of speech to be. I want it to be like the exchange of ideas. He's not going to work for Apple. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna build, and think about it. Take it at the bare
and the thing
bones.
is one word.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah.
He has a passion for music.
Right. He loves music. I'm gonna make music, and if I don't make $1 million, and again, I can't beat this in the ground enough. If he didn't make any money, he couldn't live.
Right.
He has to make some
Right.
money. But again, in America today, it seems like corporations are like, how can we squeeze every single penny out of something? There's none of it. We are in this together. When you read the article about Jack White, he talks about when he was opening the plant, the record plant, right? And his brother works for him, and his mom, who's 85 years old, she was there when they opened the plant. It'd be like if you opened a plant and you took your mom. Again, he is the embodiment of the American spirit, but you don't hear about Jack White very often.
Mm-hmm.
And again, where did I hear it? I didn't hear it on CNN. I didn't read it on the Daily Beast. I didn't hear it on the Blaze. I read an article, again, on page 82 of Popular Mechanics magazine. I mean, Jack White is what should be celebrated in America.
No, that's actually kind of lifts my spirits.
And again, back to brass tacks, would you ever think of opening a factory in downtown Cleveland for anything? Even if you had the best idea in the world. You'd be like, heck no, I'm not going into... And like I said, he reinvests into music, he reinvests in the community. He's supposed to be what the American spirit's all about.
Right.
Not how can we make the most money out of a city and drain it of its assets and then take off.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Detroit is my town. And I'm reading this and I'm like, holy cow, is this America? And here's here's one of the albums that they pressed. And they talked about how they are making innovative records where you could press things into the records, and I guess one of their releases was like a single in a 33. Does that make sense? Like they're even doing vinyl innovations, like like a 78, right?
Well, a 33 would be like the full size.
Right.
Yeah, but
And
it's
then-
just a single.
No, they got the single, the small single in the middle, which is
Okay,
a
like
78.
a 45.
Yeah, or yeah, like if
40.
I said 78, but I'm going back 20 years. I'm sorry. Like a 45 in the middle, and then a 33 on the outside. So it's like a single and an album.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Well, yeah. Well, who would ever thought of that? And they're like doing that, and the name of it is Third Man Recordings. And again, not everybody can like little mom and pop bands like Wasted Space. Oh, bye, Ted. Ted's going to get a vinyl for us. But bands like Wasted Space, they can go, small bands, and say, hey, we want vinyl copies of our record, even if they can't afford... Ted left me, hopefully he didn't run to the bathroom, but because he has a vinyl collection, I assume that's where he's going, because there's only one room over.
Well, these are just a couple. These are 45.
Okay, you got the 45.
This is like the rock and roll break room in my house.
That's awesome. So yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
You remember these things?
Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, so Ted has... We call it the rock and roll break room because where we worked, they wanted to decorate the break room, right? So there'd be more festive. So they literally put 45s and 78s and 33s on the wall with record companies. Now, we asked for a radio and they said...
They said no.
They said no. And we were supposed to get a TV and they said...
No.
No. They said the TV, why would you put a TV in the break room? Then people would want to hang out in the break room.
Right.
So when we say it was a rock and roll break room, it really was. It was old 45s nailed on the wall. Now, I'm sorry, I don't want to take shots at them, but... Oh, I didn't even look and see who that was. Who is that? The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I love that song. But anyhow... So the rock and roll break room, we used to make fun of it because it was ironic. It had... Excuse me. It had albums on the wall, but you couldn't listen to music. And so that was
You were just supposed to imagine what the 45s would sound
and
like.
it was symbolic of the way the company worked. Now, you can't talk about it because you still work there, so we won't talk about it anymore. But I will say that it was symbolism at its finest. There's the records. You can't listen to them.
Yeah, they should have. What they should have had was a jukebox.
Yeah.
So you could take the 45s off the wall.
Ted, that costs money. Do you know how much money that would cost?
We're not made of money.
We're not made of money here. So,
if we bought a jukebox for this place, we'd have to do it for every branch.
But anyhow, singing the praises of Jack White. Seriously, say you were younger and Wasted Space got back together. You would want to do business with him. You'd want a vinyl copy of your own record, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Even bigger bands that people have heard of, like Mushroomhead. Let's use Mushroomhead for an example. They're one of my favorite bands in Cleveland. Say they wanted a limited edition press, they could just shoot off to Detroit. They don't have to, mess around with major, record companies. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. And like I said, I wanted to start out the show with something positive for once. And that's why when I'm reading the article, and it's not just him, it was a couple of things. Because Popular Mechanics, again, is a magazine. And how many people read magazines? Magazines are going the way of the
So
dodo
did you
birds.
buy
Newspapers.
that when you were on vacation?
I did buy it while I was on vacation. And that's what I was doing. I was reading it because there were two articles I wanted to read about. I wanted to read about Made in the USA, which was the best stuff from all 50 states. Where is cool stuff being made in America? And in Michigan, it was, Jack White. But I wanted to talk about that article. And then at the end was, Will It Kill You? We'll talk about that too. So that's not as interesting. But it's Popular Mechanics was celebrating things that are made in America. So let's go to Ohio. What was Ohio? And I did read, I just didn't memorize all 50 states. Where was it? Oklahoma? Where's Ohio? It skips Ohio. I know I read it. It's probably big. Oh, here it is. They still make, this was what was amazing. The KitchenAid blender. It's a standalone mixer. Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not. See the standalone mixer?
Mm-hmm. That's made in Ohio?
That's made in Ohio. Okay? It's been produced in the same factory since 1919 in Greenville, Ohio. Now,
where's that?
I don't even know. But it's been made since then. Now, say your mom has a KitchenAid, okay? And your mom says, Ted, the mixer, see the mixer on the bottom?
Is that what it looks like now?
No. Well, this is the newest one, okay? Ted, my mixer broke. Is there any way you could fix that? Okay, what would you say?
Is there any way I could fix that?
Yeah, and not the mixing unit, but the mixer. Say the coils broke. Is there any way you could fix that? And there's a catch to where I'm going at.
So just this part here?
Yeah, it's detachable. You detach it from
I could probably try to.
It says that this is funny, all of the utility attachments, no matter how current, are compatible with the front power hub of every mixer since 1937. So even if your mom has a KitchenAid mixer from 1950, you go to the store now, buy it, jam it in there, and it's compatible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's why I'm reading about that. I'm like, that can't be right. And they said, now, granted, say your great grandmother, she's deceased, right?
I mean, the way things are now, you could have something that was made last year and it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying?
I remember the iPhone, they change compatibility for their chargers like every year. Now, that's not true. I think iPhone 1, 2, 3 were the same, and then 4, 5, 6. But like you said, they changed the chargers every couple of years. Yeah. 1937 was 80 years ago. So if your mom has a mixer from 1937 or after, it's compatible with that. And that's amazing.
That is amazing.
And there's a good chance and I don't mean to pick on your mom, but if she has a KitchenAid, that you could buy something that would attach it. And you would never know that. Because you would probably go to the store and be like, I don't know if it attaches or not. And again, that's a success story. And this whole magazine was filled with success stories. Like, okay, here's another one.
See, and the thing is, that's something. Reading that's something you would want to support.
Oh yeah,
You almost want to go out and buy one of those, even if you don't really use mixers. You know what I
well
mean?
yeah, and that's the whole thing. I'm like, it's a small little article and they're paragraphs, but that's why these are the things that should be on the news. These are the things that should be celebrated. You know, and again, we talk about it a little bit. And here's another one. Do you know what mead is?
Mead.
Mead.
What are they?
M-E-A-D.
Like notebooks and.
No, mead. It's like honey wine. I think my mom used to make it.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
She doesn't do it anymore. But it's a type of wine. Well, they still make mead. I remember reading about mead like in history books. They still make mead in Maryland. Okay? In Massachusetts, they have a sneakers factory. Okay? I thought Nike sent all of...
Massachusetts.
But I thought that Nike sent all... You remember, basically, they pay LeBron James $100 million to put his name on a tennis shoe, and then they pay people in Malaysia a penny to put them together. But like in Massachusetts, there's a sneaker factory for New Balance, right? And granted, some of them are obscure, like in Iowa.
Well, yeah, you were talking about Nike,
right?
And how the shoes are what, like $150
Yeah.
or whatever, and they still have them made somewhere else.
Yeah, because they can't afford to pay the American
Yeah, because
worker.
we couldn't make money on $150 shoes if we had workers making them here.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, that's why, because they're paying people like LeBron. And I'm not picking on LeBron. Everybody thinks I pick on LeBron. Okay? It doesn't matter. Take out LeBron's name and put in any athlete. Okay? Maybe if you didn't pay the athlete X amount, then you could have Fred, do you know how much it costs for a worker?
Fred, you don't understand anything
You
about
don't
business?
understand the way America works. But that's why I'm like, wow, this is great. And I'm reading this. And it's like in Vermont, okay? They do Johnson Woolen Mills, button-down shirts. They do button-down shirts. Did you know they make flannel in Vermont? Right? And every state, they tried to pull out a success story. But the thing is, and going back to the Jack White example, as much as I respect him, and as much as he's great and awesome, and I'm not going to say a bad thing, he's a trickle in the bucket. You don't have enough Jack Whites in America. That's the problem. You have a bunch of knuckleheads who are
You have
like
a bunch of jackasses in America.
yeah, we got to send it over to basically Nike jackasses. And it's not just Nike. They're the symbol of, you could put in any evil corporation. We can't afford to pay the worker because we got to pay these massive, how could you sell $150 sneakers, but you can't afford to pay American workers? How does that work?
You got to pay the big picture guys.
Right. The big picture guys and the guys who stamp their names on the side. So that was the first article. And again, I'm going to give it to you, but John Deere makes utility vehicles in Wisconsin. I'm like, I know John Deere made anything in America. You know what I mean? Now, granted, I might, if I read that, I didn't read the one about John Deere, but maybe they don't do everything in America. But they talk about, in Alabama, Honda makes. Now, I knew Honda had car plants in America, right? But I don't know who's who. I had a friend, Jeff, and he lived in Columbus, and he worked, I think, for Hyundai. Who's in...
Marysville?
Yeah, who's in Marysville?
I think that's Honda, isn't it?
Is it Honda?
I think.
Maybe it is Honda. Well, if Honda builds cars in Ohio and Alabama. Because he worked at Honda. I said Hyundai, but I think it is Honda. But did you know
maybe
that...
I'm wrong. I think I thought
Did you know that Honda makes minivans in Alabama?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and like I said, in California, they got cool stuff. So, but again, I'm going to let you read this. Idaho's is knives.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, Colorado is snowboards. Well, that makes perfect sense. But again, you can't support an economy making snowboards, but you can do stuff, I'm sorry, I was so impressed. You really got to check it out. Popular Mechanics. It is the July-August issue 2017, or you go to popularmechanics.com and read more about it. But it really was. It was a great read, and it was awesome to read something positive. Now, Ted Coley, you are neurotic, right? Because you do Beacon of Speech with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're neurotic, I'm a little bit neurotic. Now, the other article in here is what will kill you, okay? And some of the stuff I had heard, will it kill you, okay? Did you realize that pigs is one of the deadliest animals in America?
Pigs?
Yeah, pigs.
Well, like wild boars or?
Just in general.
Yeah.
They said pigs in general. They said they don't have hard numbers, but they said a lot of people are attacked by wild pigs, and a lot of people have accidents around the farm, and then the pigs eat them. Right? And I have a friend from Minnesota. She told me this herself because she grew up on the farm. She said, if you ever want to do the perfect crime, and don't listen, Ted, okay? If you ever want to do perfect crime, you kill somebody, you go drive to the farm, throw them in the pig pen, there will be nothing left.
I think I heard that.
And they said, of all the things to be afraid of all the animals to be afraid of, pigs is actually one of the most frightening things to be near. The pigs will kill you.
Wow.
Now, they can't hunt you down. Say you're on a farm. They're not going to hunt you down, get you, stab you with a knife, and then eat you. There has to be mitigating circumstances. You know what I mean? Like it was a baby. Or, the old man had a heart attack, and then the pigs chewed on him while he was, stroking out. A pig cannot come and overpower you. But I was like, holy cow, I did not realize that pigs were some of the most dangerous animals in America. I had a friend.
Holy cow and evil pig.
Evil pigs. I had a friend in Minnesota, and he doesn't listen to Beacon of Speech. His name's Taufik, right? And I used to make fun of him. He was from Bangla-Desh.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, because the tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh no, that is real. They really do attack us hundreds a year. This is not funny. And he's like, this is America. We don't worry about tigers. He goes, oh no, Fred, you do not understand the plague of tigers in Bangladesh. And I'm like this, Ted.
Ironically, look at.
I'm sorry. The other record that Ted brought out was Bangla-Desh.
By George Harrison.
That reminds me. Another thing I was reading about on vacation. Danny Harrison.
Yeah.
He is putting out a solo album this week. If you're interested in checking it out, they said he takes the classic rock sound and melds it with today's music, and they said it's beautiful. Supposedly it's a really great album. And they said, you know how he used to do stuff, with his dad and tour and everything?
Yeah. And
he took his dad's place a few times,
yeah.
After he died. They said that he's really finding Danny Harrison's voice. He's finding his own voice. And he said it's like bringing the old into the new. They said it's a beautiful fusion. I didn't hear it. I only read about it. But the reviews I read about it, they said it sounded wonderful. They said if you're a fan of George Harrison, then definitely check it out.
And I am, definitely.
So Danny Harrison. And it's Dhani. It's not.
Yeah. I knew that.
Electrical outlets. They said even though you can get hurt on electrical outlets, it's very rare that people actually die. And again, these are fears. One of the leading killers in accidents in America is the ladder.
Yeah,
it has 7 steps. It has 7 steps to surviving a ladder fall. And it says, because ladders actually kill thousands of people a year. I'm like, ladders? And they're like, very few people are, killed by, things you would worry about. But lots of people are killed by ladders. Very few people are killed by getting punched in the nose. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. So what are some of the others? Raw oysters will kill you. The odds of death are not even worth considering. They're so low. Accidental stabbing. It says how many people actually survive knife attacks. Okay? You really got to get stabbed in the right place. Even if you fall while you're with a knife, very rarely. I remember my wife, she was doing the dishes, and she put her hand in the thing, and the knife stabbed her in her hand.
Oof.
And they said lots of people get stabbed by knives, very few actually die. So he said, you shouldn't. And basically, the articles, will it kill you? And they said, yeah, in theory, in the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Unapproved gasoline containers. They said that it's minuscule. Do you worry about lightning, Ted?
A couple weeks ago, I was worried because I was cutting the grass when it was raining. But for the most part, I usually don't.
Yeah, they said that lightning is still very, very rare. Swimming in the ocean with a cut, your blood will attract sharks. And they said that is still very, very rare. That even when the sharks do attack, it's not because you cut your hand and they swam out. They said shark attacks basically are still random. Like, there's no pattern. Plugging in an appliance while your hands and feet are wet, that actually does happen a fair amount.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it says the most dangerous things in here are going to the hospital and catching something else. They said make sure you're using hand sanitizer and ladders. And it says right here, people think that cell phones will kill you, right? Well, it says here, the truth is, there's almost no documented cases.
What is that?
Bay leaves. They said that some people think they're poisonous.
I don't know what those are.
It's like tea leaves. Is there anything else you fear of killing you?
I don't know. I know snakes. Some snakes are pretty extremely deadly.
See, it doesn't have snakes. It has pigs. But it also had x-rays at the dental office, will give you cancer. And they said what you find is that the lead protectors, like say you're getting a jaw, like you're at the dentist and you get your tooth x-rayed, they said there's zero chance of it to go there. They said the technician doesn't even have to leave the room. They said there's a minuscule chance because you're thyroid, you should wear a thyroid guard. But other than that, everything else is just for show. But almost everything in here is minuscule. Like, there's almost no recorded cases in the history of it, will it kill you? Except for, again, I'm sorry, I almost said sharks and ladders. Ladders in hospitals. And it says, getting shot, only 5% of the people who get shot die.
Wow.
Oh, found it on.
I would have thought it was higher than that.
Oh, yeah. Found that less than 10% of people shot in the heart. Oh, yeah. If you get shot in the heart, you almost always die. I'm sorry. 80% are non-fatal. I read it backwards. 80% are non-fatal. So chances are you will live through getting shot. Does that make you feel better living in Garfield Heights?
I was just going to say that. But
So anyhow, that's the other thing. I thought that was interesting.
Good to know.
So that's my gift to you. That's my positivity. This is America's magazine since 1902, Popular Mechanics. Go to popularmechanics.com or go buy one. They were only, I think it was $4.99. That's my gift to you for making a speech with me today. And we only had 2 things on the outline because I'm back from vacation. What was the thing that made me super mad on vacation, Ted Coley? You already know, so you can answer. Here's my whole outline right there.
Oh. Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie Irving! Now, we were talking about stupid people before. Kyrie Irving is very good at basketball. Would you say that's true?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving went to Duke University, which is basically the Ivy League of the South. Would you say that's true?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Kyrie Irving was in the news because Kyrie Irving said, what did he say that he was in the news? Do you remember?
This is last year?
Last year. After they won the championship, he was doing a post-championship interview.
I don't know.
The Earth is flat.
Kyrie Irving said that?
Kyrie Irving said the Earth is flat. And then it went viral, and everybody said Kyrie Irving is an idiot. And he said, well, I don't know if I believe it's round, but I don't know if I buy all this outer space stuff. Okay?
He actually believes that the Earth is flat?
The Earth is flat. He's one of the flat earthers. Okay?
He didn't say that as like a joke? Or?
No.
I never heard that.
Yeah, he walked it back after a bunch of people saying that the uneducated, it's dangerous, right? For you to win a championship and then come out and say the Earth is flat because you don't know any better. And you went to Duke. And so he walked it back and he's like, you know what, I'm not a scientist, right?
Apparently not.
He didn't say the Earth is round. He said, I'm not a scientist. Okay? Kyrie Irving makes $100 million on his contract to dribble a basketball. Okay? This week, he says he does not like playing with LeBron James. He doesn't like playing in the finals every year. He would like to be traded so he can have his own team.
Isn't it ironic that he says the Earth is flat and his whole life revolves around something that is round?
Yeah. Yes, it is. There's something round, and you think he would notice when he flies in the private jet that the Earth was not flat. Okay? But, I digress. Okay? He is very good at dribbling a basketball. I can't take it away from me. I'm good at bitching and moaning about stuff. You're good at listening to me and doing your job. Are you happy about that?
No.
He's also good at guitar.
More.
What other strong points do you have?
I wanted more.
The point is that Kyrie Irving is not happy, even though he's making $100 million a year, and he's an illiterate moron. Okay? Now, how do you make an illiterate moron happy?
So he has to be traded, right?
He has to be traded, because he wants his own team. He wants to see if he can get his team to the finals.
And this, like, as far as anybody knows, came out of the blue, right?
Yes.
Nobody was expecting this?
No.
Including, like, his teammates?
Correct. Well, we're going to keep going with this, so I'm going to beat this into the ground. Now, he wants to be traded. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Cavs said they will try and accommodate him. Okay? Now, if you were the owner of the Cavs, would you trade Kyrie Irving? Because I'm like mad thinking about it.
If I did, it would be reluctantly.
Okay. Kyrie Irving is still under contract this year. We are paying him $6 million a year.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. It's a 7-year, $100 million, 6-year, $100 million, whatever. So he's making $16 million a year.
Oh, 16.
$16 million.
I thought you said 6.
No, 16. So he's getting paid $16 million a year this year. He's getting paid $16 million a year. So he's still under contract for 2 more years. But he's unhappy, Ted. So he wants to be traded with $33 million still due to him. Ted Coley, where you work, if you're under contract for 2 more years and you went into the office and you made $33 million for the next 2 years and you're under contract and you said, I am unhappy, what do you think would happen?
You'd probably get fired.
We live in America where the obscene is now the normal, and then when you explain it, you're the one who doesn't understand. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is what we were talking about before we started. I wanted to talk about popular mechanics first because I want to start out on the positive. But everything about Kyrie Irving makes me so angry, Ted. Everything. Okay? Number one, I heard he wasn't that bright to begin with. Okay? And again, you don't have to be a scientist to know whether the Earth is round or not. Okay, I think Galileo established that about 400 years ago. Okay, Kyrie Irving did not do research and say, my studies find that Galileo was wrong. Kyrie Irving is just an idiot. Okay? And again, I'm not talking about how good he is at dribbling a basketball. I am talking about his mental state. He got into one of the most prestigious colleges in America. Okay? And he barely played because he had a toe injury. Okay? Then he got drafted and he made over $100 million because he signed a contract extension right out of college. He was in Duke for 1 year. Okay? Now again, I'm not saying Kyrie Irving should be singing and dancing and being, oh yeah, this is the greatest country in the world, blah, blah, blah. I am saying don't be an effing idiot. Okay? Try not to be an idiot while you're playing basketball. Okay? I have read so many articles saying, well, Kyrie is growing. He's a young man. He's learning about he wants his own team. That's the way the NBA works. Just because that's the way the NBA works doesn't make it right. Going back to the Jack White analogy, they'd be like, why would you open a plant? That doesn't make any sense. Back to basketball, why would you guys pay why would you pay, okay, an illiterate $100 million? Okay? Because I want to brand my Nike or whatever company Kyrie works for. Okay? Now, Dane Gilbert can turn around and say, you're going to have to play mad. And then Kyrie's going, I don't want to play mad! Okay? And in theory, that will work. Because he'll be like, I'm only going to dribble at half speed. And there's nothing you can do about it because I have a guaranteed contract. And again, when sports writers are like, that's the way it is, but that's not the way it should be. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, that's the way it is. Well, where's common sense is gone. Mm-hmm. And again, he doesn't want to play. He wants his own team. Well, that's fine. Play mad for 2 years, and then hire a coach, fire Tyrone Lue.
So this is basically really about LeBron then.
Yeah. So fire Tyronn Lue and hire a drill sergeant to put his foot up Kyrie Irving's ass for 2 years. Okay?
So if LeBron James left, then Kyrie would probably want to stay.
Well, that's the other thing. LeBron says he wants to explore free agency next year. He wants to keep all his options open. So people are saying Kyrie Irving is doing the smart thing by leaving before LeBron leaves and they get nothing for him. You see what I'm saying? But again, it goes back to nobody's in it together. You know what I mean? The players are all like, how can we screw the Cavs? And the Cavs are like, how can we...
Because I'm assuming that this is LeBron's team.
Right. Yeah, Kyrie wants his own team because it's better for his brand. Again, we're not in this together. You know, I'm trying to build a brand here, right? Kyrie Irving is not opening a factory in Cleveland, making basketballs, okay? He is the definition...
making flags.
He is the definition of a spoiled American athlete. And don't get me wrong, there's spoiled soccer players in Europe.
He's opening a factory in Cleveland making flat globes.
But you understand what I'm saying. There is no I'm giving back. You know how I'm giving back if I'm Kyrie? I went and did a Cavs basketball camp and told those kids to buy my $150 sneakers. And they're like, well, that's the way it is, but it's not right. Well, that's the way it is, but it's not right. That's where Beacon of Speech is now. We're in the thing where people are like, Beacon of Speech, you don't seem to understand the way the world works.
Less filling great taste.
Yeah, less filling great taste. You don't understand how things are. No, the problem is I understand completely how things work. I'm sorry, I just caught the thing of Chief Wahoo. Okay, we wrote an article. We talked about Chief Wahoo. They're like, Chief Wahoo's got to get banned. Why does it got to be banned? Well, you don't understand. It offends people. Well, how is it offending people now? 50 years ago, we weren't paying athletes $100 million. I always felt bad for the athletes because they were taken advantage of, and they had to work off-season jobs, and there was risk of injury. You know what I mean? At this point, if they give you $100 million when you're 25, you should be able to stretch that till you die.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about Kyrie Irving's globe fake.
No, like, well, that's the thing, Ted. Right here.
Just picture that.
We pulled out props before.
Picture that as flat.
Ted, what year is this? What? Yeah, I've made fun of your old globe, and I don't mean to make fun of it because I love globes. If it was up to me, I'd have a whole room full of globes. I'm that weird. And they'd be from like the 1600s all the way up to today because I think globes are fascinating.
Mm.
I'm just intrigued by them. But right here, I'm looking to see what year it was. Copyright, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I can guess about what year it is because it says right here, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. Okay? It says Poland, but there's no Lithuania, there's no Estonia, there's no Ukraine. It says USSR right here. When did the Berlin Wall fall?
89.
89? So this globe is a minimum of 30 years old, right?
Okay, so it says on there East and West Germany?
Yes. It has East and West Germany on here. And
I'm thinking maybe it's from the 80s.
And you know what else it has? It has Yugoslavia on here.
Ooh, wow.
Right? And again, it has Zimbabwe, Botswana. I don't think Botswana's named Botswana anymore. Mozambique, and I apologize again for confusing Zimbabwe and Mozambique. I'm looking to see if Alaska and Hawaii are states, because I don't know how old your thing is. Because it would say Alaskan territory if it was in the 50s, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So it doesn't say Alaska. So it's somewhere between the 50s and late 80s. But Ted, that's the Earth. We're not talking about, quarks and crapping and neutron, cutting edge stuff. Or how many satellites does Saturn have? He thinks that the Earth is flat. That's what an idiot he is. And again, he didn't go straight from height. He literally is better at basketball than almost anybody in the world. How many athletes are better than Kyrie Irving at basketball? Maybe a handful. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe LeBron, Steph Curry. I'm trying to think of who else is better. Dwayne Wade in his prime. A couple of the guys from Golden State. But Kyrie is in the top 10. Okay? But he is the epitome of the spoiled American athlete. It's like, what will make you happy? You know what would make me happy if he had an education? He went to Duke. If I was the president of Duke, as soon as I saw that interview where he said the earth is flat, I'd pull him right out. I'd be like, oh, you are stricken from Duke's records right there. And he never even graduated. He only went there 1 year. People would be like, well, he only went to Duke. How in the world did he get into Duke? Ted, I'm going to be honest with you.
Where is he from?
I don't even know. But I'm going to tell you right now. You went to Maple Heights High, but then you graduated Brecksville your last year, right? Yeah. So don't use Brecksville. Go back to Maple Heights, okay? When you went to Maple Heights High School, how many people from Maple Heights that you knew went on to any school in the Ivy League?
Oh, man, probably none that I know of.
Yeah, me neither. I know anybody. I think when I graduated Brunswick, I think we had almost 600 kids. I think there was one girl who went to a prestigious private girls' college. It was hard to get into. But I don't think anybody got into an Ivy League school. And I don't think anybody got into Duke. I think it was a big deal that people got into like middle-of-the-road schools like Pitt.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think, we had a guy the year after I graduated. He went to Northwestern. And that was a huge deal. They're like, he went to Northwestern! Like the Princeton of the Midwest. Right? Nobody was going to the real Princeton. They had to go to Northwestern. And they're like, big headlines in the alumni. A student goes to Northwestern. Like, we had landed on the moon at our high school. So when Kyrie Irving, how in the did he get into Duke? And again, Dexter Manley, you remember when we were kids, they said he was functionally illiterate.
Yeah, what was he, the Redskins?
Yeah, he was with the Redskins. But in his defense, he went to like Alabama, right? He went to a school where the football coach said, son, we'll get you in and we'll send somebody to your classes. You just break that quarterback's ankles and you'll be fine. Okay, that was a different Ted, that was a different time. I'm talking about 8 years ago was supposedly one of the top institutions in America with one of the top respected college basketball coaches. And that's why it is literally mind-boggling to me that this is where America's at. Now you'd be like, oh, Fred, you're getting all worked up over nothing. I'm not talking about a great basketball player who is doing stuff on the side and, you know, I'm not picking on him because he's a great basketball player. I'm picking on him because he's basically an illiterate. And again, Dexter Manley was another time. Would you say that's fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can't say that they put in Kyrie Irving, that they snuck him through Duke. Ted Duke! He thought the earth was flat from Duke! I'm sorry, I can't beat this into the ground enough. My wife.
So this was after they won the championship.
After they
He started
won the
saying,
championship.
how did he work that into the conversation?
Just because all these media outlets are talking about it, and they.
I mean,
somebody,
what were they like? Great game, Kyrie, and he's like, yeah, you know, the earth is flat.
No. It was literally like, you know how we throw stuff off and then we take a left turn.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "You're one of the greatest basketball players in the whole entire round world," and they didn't say round world. You're one of the
on the globe.
On the globe, and he more or less said, "Well, yeah, on the Earth." And they're like, "Ah!" He's like, "No. Well, I don't believe the Earth is round." And they were like,
"Go to commercial."
Yeah. Well, let's elaborate on this a little bit. Go to break. We'll be right back. And then when it went viral is when he walked it back. And again, when he walked it back, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, the Earth is round." He said, "I'm not a scientist," or, you know, "that wasn't my major," or some other idiotic thing. You know, even though I went for psychology to college, I know a little bit about business, you know, try and make more money, that, you know, basic things. Even though I didn't go to take biology, I remember from high school biology that stripy thing is a zebra and that long neck thing is a giraffe. And that's why when he wanted to be traded, as soon as he came out with he wanted to be traded, all these people are like, well, you got to understand the basketball mindset. He wants his own team. You got to understand the world that he lives in. I'm like, the world that he lives in is the same world that we live in. There is no planet basketball.
The world he lives in.
Yes. And they're like, you got to understand in Kyrie's branding of his pride. And I'm like, oh, please shut up. You know what? I hope. I have said over and over that I grew up loving the Browns. And I keep saying that it's going the way of boxing. How many times have you heard me say that? Over and over again. Okay? People like Kyrie and LeBron are going to kill basketball if they keep doing crap like this. Now, young people who don't understand, right? Now, basketball, at the end of the day, there is no silver bullet. Right?
It's just like, and I'll take it a step further. In my opinion, these actors are going to kill the movie industry because they keep shooting their mouths off about politics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
because the best thing about actors is that you don't know anything about them.
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing. I remember, and you know Jeffrey from the movie, right? He posted something that had like 12 actors, and they were all horrible actors. It was like Rosie O'Donnell and all these other people that you would never want, Leah Dunham, right? That you would never want to watch any of their crap. And the meme said, each one of these 12 said they'd leave the country if Trump won Why are you still here?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I agree. Why are you still here?
Yep.
And again, let's say that you hate Trump. You like Trump. I don't like Trump. Okay? But, and I said this in one of my Beacon of speeches, you do not have the wherewithal to leave America. Okay? The amount of money you have, you cannot go to Canada. You could probably go to Costa Rica. Okay? But you have no interest in Costa Rica. Okay? If all these actors who hate America so much, they are sitting on millions of dollars. If they hate America that much, you can go to France. You can go to Costa Rica and own an island. It's like, and I'm not saying leave the country. Don't say, I'm going to leave the country because America sucks. Okay? Just don't say that. Okay? If America sucks, try and make it better. It's almost like you're making a PR pitch to say, oh, you think America sucks. Well, I think America sucks too. And, I'm wearing the America hat. But again, I'm not the most patriotic guy. I'm just not. But I don't say I'm leaving America if blah, blah, blah gets elected. Okay?
One of the problems with this day and age is there's no mystery about things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It used to be like professional sports, movies, actors. It's like you didn't know that much about them.
Yeah.
So that image, was intact.
Right,
but then when you started hearing their opinions on everything, you realize these guys are idiots.
Yeah. And the whole thing is, it's not about the product.
Which I'm not saying I'm not an idiot.
Right.
But it's like part of their mystique was thinking that they were, oh my God, that person's larger than life.
I was watching an episode of Family Guy, okay, while I was on vacation, right? And Brian was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Right?
What, the dog?
Yeah, the dog Brian, but he's supposedly smarter than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but the Indian version, right? From India.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving him the questions, and they're like, who's the greatest cricket player of all time? And it was A, B, C, D, right? And D was Jiminy Cricket, from Disney. Right? And Brian goes, Jiminy Cricket sounds really familiar, D. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you lose. And they cut the commercial, right? And it goes back to everybody, if you go to high school, and I go to high school, even though you went to Maple Heights and I went to Brunswick, we both should have a certain grasp of education of America, even whether we agree with it or not. You know what I mean? Like, say, the Civil War. Right? Civil War, North versus South, right? You should have a basic grasp of what you learned in 8th grade, okay? You don't have to tell me about Sherman's March. You don't have to tell me about, Robert E. Lee. You don't have to tell me about... All you have to do is say North versus South, Abraham Lincoln held the country together. Very basic of the basic facts, okay? So when Kyrie Irving says he doesn't know that the earth is round, but he's still one of the people. It's like you weren't even paying attention in 8th grade. You know why? Because you were playing basketball. Okay? How did that slip through the cracks? And I'm sorry to keep beating on it, but like you said...
Well, because we think the people who are the richest and the most famous know the most.
Right, and they don't.
Well, they think that.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going with it.
They think because I'm so rich and famous, I must be a genius.
Yeah. And that's the problem with America. The Kyrie Irvings of the world are like, you don't understand how hard I work to be one of the best basketball players. Yes, but when you actually talk to you, you are a stunted moron. And they say,
and I shouldn't say it's not so much that actors and athletes are idiots. It's just that they're self-righteous a-holes.
The problem is that I keep throwing names at them, especially Kyrie Irving, so I apologize, okay? But if I hear you have to understand that the world they live in, this is the way things are, one more time, I'm going to spit because he lives in the same world as you and me.
Mm-hmm.
There is no we are in this together. It's like building your brand and doing this. And in their brand, they're like, how can I screw my teammate
Well, the
LeBron
funny thing
and
is
get out of here?
the people who say you have to understand the world they live in, they're the people who create that world.
Right. And
The media mainly.
in America, like you said, the richest people are the smartest.
Yeah.
But you find out that the richest people, and not all the time, but for the most part, they're really good at one specific thing.
But since they're good at one thing, in their minds, they think they're good at everything.
When I was gone, okay, Michael Phelps raced a shark. Did you see that?
I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Now, Michael Phelps seems like the nicest guy in the world. I don't have anything bad to say about him. Okay? If we had him on Beacon of Speech and we started asking him questions about American history, I guarantee you that you would know more about history than Michael Phelps because he spent 6 hours a day in a pool. Okay? Michael Phelps racing a shark was basically his last paycheck. Okay? He'll probably do Dancing with the Stars and he'll be a public speaker like Mark Spitz, for years and years, we'll pay $10,000 to come to our corporation and do, whatever Bruce Jenner did. Now Caitlyn Jenner. I'm a motivational speaker. That's how I make my money, right? But in America, you only have to be great at one thing, like once, and then you're cashing checks off of it for the rest of your life. Do you think that before I even told you this story about Kyrie Irving and the flat earth, did you ever get the impression that Kyrie Irving was somebody like Michael Jordan who could transcend the sport and be a pitchman?
No.
No. Everybody loves Mike, right? And Mike was famous for saying, even Republicans buy sneakers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the whole thing. When you say people make movies now, not to make the movie, but to make money. Well, how can we make this movie make money? We'll put this guy in, we'll put some CGI effects, and then some guy will write a script, and then 3 other guys will work over the original script, and we'll have it. Because nobody does things like, I have a vision.
Yeah.
I want to do something. I want to create something. And that's why I champion Jack White. Like I said, if he was here, I'd probably kiss his feet. Because it was the most inspirational thing I have read in a long time. I'm sick of looking on the front page of ESPN and seeing idiots like Kyrie Irving, they're getting the headlines, and people like Jack White is on page 82 of Popular Mechanics. And let me be totally honest with you. Okay? No offense to Popular Mechanics. If you were surfing the web, would you ever go on the Popular Mechanics website just to check out what's going on, what's new in Popular Mechanics?
No. I mean, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't think of it, probably.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, I'm not going on there. It just wouldn't cross my mind.
But that's the whole point. It's like a lot of the newsmakers make news because they have the audacity to, do this or say that.
Yeah.
See my outline? See how short it is? Aren't you glad that we only have 2 things? So back to Kyrie Irving. I cannot hide my disdain for him asking for a trade. It makes me angry on so many levels. Okay? Now, if he was here, he'd be like, well, Fred, you can't play basketball for squat. He goes, you were on the lowest division of your high school basketball team. That's why you're doing Beacon of Speech. Okay? Well, I'm going to pull out that globe. I'm going to pull out that fucking globe right now. Okay? And if there's 200 countries, even if they're not on there, I bet you I can name 190 of them. I bet you Kyrie Irving can name 2. He can name America and China because he's the number 3 tennis shoe seller in China. Okay? Because I have at least a baseline American education. And I went to Cleveland State, so I want to hear, again, how in the world did he get into Duke? I'm being dead serious. Ted's shaking his head. Because maybe if Kyrie Irving was here and we sat with him, okay? Because
Are we inviting him on the show?
No, because he'd be like, "Oh, I got taken out of context."
Because nobody we invite on the show actually shows up. So
I'm telling you, Ted, if we ever get big, my goal is to have a third person where I have guests.
So
even if
Kyrie will be blocking.
We
the
will
Beatles.
block out. No, we're going to say idiot Kyrie Irving is not in. And I feel, because I don't want to name call people, okay? But I can't. I wrote a couple articles on Beacon of Speech about space, Okay? And I don't know space like Stephen Hawking. I don't know space, okay? So I like to think that I know a little bit more about...
Did you say Kyrie thinks there's space, that space is real, or...
Oh, I didn't question him. But now, what happened is Kyrie Irving's like, I guarantee you this is what happened. Why is everybody all upset that I think the earth is flat? And the agent was like, well, it's because the world is round and people are think you're an idiot. Okay? And he's like, well, it is flat. And you're like, listen, it's not good for your brand for you to say that the earth is flat. People think you're an idiot. So what you're going to say is the earth is round and just let it go. But I think it's flat! And the agent's going to be like, listen, you like making money, just nod your head when they say the earth is round, you're like, yeah, and change the subject. And again, he had to have somebody tell him, and they probably didn't send him to the scientists, they didn't make him read anything. He probably had a PR guy said, listen, it's bad PR for you to say the earth is flat. Okay? My wife is a huge fan of Buzz Aldrin, right? And you know who Buzz Aldrin is, right? The astronaut.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, people will run up to Buzz Aldrin and say, we didn't go to the moon! It was a TV show, it was a movie, it was made. And Buzz Aldrin, so they like to, and again, Buzz Aldrin's like 82 years old, okay? And Buzz Aldrin, one guy ran up to him, again, 22-year-old snowflake. He's like, we never went to the moon, that was a movie. Buzz Aldrin went, bam, and punched him right in the face. 82-year-old Buzz Aldrin punched a guy 60 years younger, right?
I assume he got in trouble for that.
He got in trouble for it, but who's going to put an 82-year-old man in jail for punching a guy? Right? You look like the a-hole because you ran up in his face and he's like, we didn't go to the moon! Right? And the guy, they said that Buzz Aldrin's defense was somebody got in his face and started screaming at him, so he punched him. Right? Because you don't know what somebody's going to do. Mm-hmm. Ted, if you didn't know me and I started running and say, big of speech sucks! You'd probably push me away. Yeah. Right? So Buzz Aldrin, basically his defense was the guy came in my face and screamed. Right?
Was this recently?
Oh, no. Well, it was about 5 years ago. But Buzz Aldrin is a hero because he said, I'm not taking this crap. Right? He said, it's a fact we went to the moon. And all these people who said it was a Hollywood conspiracy, they're hurting science. It is a fact. It is not fake news that we went to the moon. We went to the moon a number of times. Right? And people are like, why haven't we gone lately? Well, it's the same reason you don't do anything. Right? How much does that cost to go back to the moon? Why would you spend that much money? We already went there.
So that's their proof that we never went there, was that we're not doing it now?
Yeah. And they're like, you could have done that. The thing is, you now
that's like saying World War II never happened because there's no World War going on now.
Well, yeah, but there's idiots out there today. And again, back to the Kyrie Irving thing. You'd be like, I've never seen proof that the world is round. How do you not have proof? If the earth was flat, you would see Paris way over there.
You see binoculars.
Yeah. Ah, there's Paris! We can make a Sarah Palin joke. There's Russia!
It's funny.
So again, I'm sorry to call Kyrie Irving names. And because we're not here to swear but he is what's wrong with America just got summed up in Kyrie Irving. He makes $100 million a year. He went to one of the most prestigious American universities.